Minute Sherlock by Drew Hayes is a mystery thriller series that's very much captured my attention this year, and I want to tell y'all all about it. Let's talk about it. Hey there everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Inc. It is 2024, Happy New Year by the way, and to start out this year I want to tell y'all all about the series that Drew Hayes has been working on, at least one of them, and that is 5-Minute Sherlock. This is an incredible series that really tests the bounds of when you put a normal guy, or in actors' terms, a straight man, with someone who is kooky or crazy or give any other adjective to describe the one of the most obnoxiously smart men that I've ever read about in any kind of a series. To give a light spoiler summary, it follows the first-person perspective of an agent known as 221, the man you call when you've got a dangerous job that really needs to be complete. And he's on the out in his career, but recently, to get back into the fold, he has to take on a job of protecting the subject known as Sherlock Holmes, a man who has taken a drug without knowing, or at least without knowing what was going to happen, and has become the most smartest man to ever be created or known about. And it really does show you that intelligence can lead to some odd behavior, or at least that is where Drew Hayes is taking this series. Sherlock Holmes completely believes that he is the great-great-grandson of Sherlock Holmes, the fictional character, and has decided that he is the world's greatest detective himself. And with that said, Watson's, aka the agent's new code name, has taken the responsibility of protecting him, at least in the first book, on a cross-country run to get him to the site to better determine Sherlock's intelligence. I know that's a mouthful, but I think it's the best way to describe what could be a phenomenal series if y'all decide to give it a shot. I'm a big fan of this one, and for many reasons, but let's just go ahead and determine the pro-con-pro of this series. The first pro is definitely going to be Sherlock Holmes. I gotta say, and I think anyone who picks this series up, I wish I had 10% of the confidence that this man walks around with, because he is able to make bullshit statements, really ridiculous claims, as well as the ability to back up at least most of them. And he has something that's pretty dang cool, which we'll get to in a little bit. My con for the series, it is on the shorter side, and it's actually accurate here. It's not just one of my throwaway cons where I just say, I wish I want more. No, these series are on average about, through audio form, 7 hours. And compared to some of the other series I read, which range from 12 to 15 to 30 sometimes, it is definitely not a short story, but a short novel. So when you pick this one up, plan on blowing through it within an afternoon if you really do enjoy it and cannot put it down. Other than that though, everything that's in the series definitely does capture your attention, and the relationship between Watson and Sherman is one of the main points for that, this great friendship that they are growing to have. My final pro is definitely going to be the aspect of Sherman's disorder, or at least the one the scientists want to focus on, and it leads to our title of the series, 5-Minute Sherlock. Once a day, Sherlock Holmes has the ability to go into this 5-minute lucidity state where he's no longer so crazy, for lack of a better word, and he's able to really utilize all of his knowledge, which is everything he's ever seen, looked at, or absorbed, and he's able to utilize all that information in the present situations. This state that Sherman finds himself in allows him to really divert what could be catastrophe situations, or he could just waste it on whatever draws his fancy. It might just be counting kernels in a jar to win a prize, or even determining who wins the horse races for the next week, or it could be for the betterment of society, at least how Sherman sees it. And Watson has to be there to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes along the way. For another reference for this series of why you should pick it up, Drew Hayes is the author of the series Superpowers, which was actually number 2 on my top 10 series of last year. So I'm a big fan of Drew Hayes. He's a phenomenal author, and I look forward to reading more of his works, so I encourage y'all to do the same with this one. With all that said, in this video, we're not going to do a deep dive since the stories are so short, and to some degree they are one-offs. I do recommend reading them in order so you have most of the information going in, but at the same time, I don't think a deep dive is necessary. This series speaks for itself, in my opinion, once you pick it up, and if you don't fall in love with the characters, at least Sherman, in the first couple chapters of reading it, then it might not be for you, which is fine. Not every series is for everybody. So I do appreciate all y'all's time. I'm looking forward to a great new year, keeping y'all updated with some ideally good recommendations, and please feel free to jump in the comments if you've already read this series or if you pick it up and tell me what your thoughts are, because I would love to chat about this series with everybody out there. So thank you again for everyone's time. Y'all have a phenomenal new year, and be sure to keep reading.